The British government doesn't need fancy technology to spill a state secret about its dealings with a tech giant accused of stealing state secrets.
The really worrying thing for the country is the way that this is yet another sign that the Prime Minister is not in control. She's not in control of her cabinet.
In the center of this storm is Gavin Williamson, who's been fired as Defense Minister. He's accused of leaking a National Security Council decision to allow Chinese tech firm Huawei to take part in the country's 5G internet rollout. His answer?
Absolutely not.
Opposition lawmakers are calling for a criminal investigation, but the government says its priority is preserving the integrity of national security meetings.
Whether a criminal offence has been committed is a matter for independent prosecution authorities and ultimately for the courts.
5G internet is key to technologies like artificial intelligence and driverless cars, and Huawei is one of the global leaders in the field. But Australia and the United States have called for a boycott of the firm over fears it helps Beijing spy on other governments. Huawei denies these allegations, and the UK says its allies need not worry because it's only letting Huawei handle non-core areas of Britain's 5G network.
We know it's going to be one of the most important and impactful technologies of this or any era. And like many countries, the UK is looking at the right policy approach to 5G security.
Washington insists it's risky to have any Huawei hardware in a nation's telecommunications network. And if the UK sticks with Huawei, the US says it may start keeping secrets from its most important security ally. Paolo Montecillo, TRT World.
And for more on this, Martin Jacques joins us now from London. He's a senior fellow in politics and international studies at Cambridge University and the author of When China Rules the World. Welcome back to Money Talks, Martin. The saga surrounding the alleged leaks by the now former UK Defence Minister really underscores the political sensitivity surrounding Huawei. I'm wondering, do you think the British government will now be forced to abandon any plan to involve Huawei in its 5G network?
Well, it's difficult to predict at the moment how this is going to end. But so far, actually, the British government has, despite all the other problems it's got, I think has been quite judicious about it all. And this, I mean, there are clearly divisions, but not just within the cabinet, but amongst the security chiefs. But by and large, they think that we should go ahead, and I agree with them.
Interesting. Let's talk more about that, because the US has warned countries like the UK and pretty much the rest of the world that Huawei can be used by Beijing to essentially spy on them. Do you think there's any basis at all over their concerns and fears?
Well, I would put it a slightly different way. I think you've got to understand what the American motivation is here. And only a bit of it is shared by a European country like the UK. The Americans are basically feeling aggrieved that they don't have a player in this field. There's no American company that can do what Huawei can do. There are just two European companies that can do some of what it can do, which Ericsson is the most important. But they're well behind Huawei. So Huawei are the big player in this field. And the Americans have tried to shut them out, quite frankly, over a long period of time, not for security reasons, but for anti-competitive reasons. So, they're playing their own game, the Americans are, in relationship to this. And when they say, well, the Chinese are going, Huawei will be used for spying and so on, well, everyone knows that the Americans have got special access to the big tech firms in the United States and have played this game themselves in terms of backdoor access. So there's a lot of hypocrisy going on here.
Okay, so if, as you say, the fears around Huawei are overblown, what does the Chinese telecoms firm need to do, I guess, to allay those fears?
I think that they need to cooperate closely and very conscientiously with governments like the British government who are anxious, that they feel that what Huawei is doing is not going to lead to any forms of snooping and spying. And I think that I think the Huawei are prepared to lean over backwards to achieve this, because they would like to have access to the European market. And I must say, so far, the British government, over now a period of a decade or so, have been, it seems to me, very objective and straightforward about it. And Huawei has been admitted into the UK field like this. And I just add, by the way, that while the Americans have got the position that they're pursuing, Europe has not, by and large. I mean, it looks as if, for example, the German government is going to allow Huawei in relationship to 5G. Of course, I'm sure they'll indicate areas they don't want Huawei involved and areas where they do. Can I just add one other point as well?
Sure.
Look, Huawei is the global leader on 5G. It doesn't have any serious competitor. So here is a dilemma for Western governments, if you like, which is, are they prepared to shut themselves out of an absolutely key technology for the future because it's Chinese? And this is a test case, because rest assured, there are going to be many areas of technology where this becomes the case in the future.
Okay, and it's still early days in the development of 5G networks. We'll see how it plays out. Martin Jacques in the UK, thank you again for your time.